I think about lots of kind of communal efforts of scrappy people in the 80s in New York City or whatever, and sometimes some of those groups become more institutionalized, and they lose that connection to community. And I think that would be a tragic thing. We're in this painful time because we're all being squished by capitalism, but it would be a painful thing and a huge loss for that struggle to not result in a genuine cultural shift.
For me, it's very important to have a physical place to gather, just because I think it changes the dialogue of cinema. I mean, we're so engineered to believe that cinema is an isolating experience, and it's very much not. Like, the cinema is a full-on conversation between yourself and the individual sitting next to you, be it, hearing them kind of laugh at a joke. I mean, you just get so many different sort of interactions physically, and also, I mean, I believe it's a form that was made for the giant screen. I mean, that was what its inception was. I mean, so any other variations are limiting the perspective of what the director had in store. And not just that, physical space means value. It means that what you're seeing, you have to see or you need to see. And creating a place for especially Black and POC films, it tells the world at large that these films are worthy and worth your time, And I think that's incredibly important.
Underground film in New York, getting together.
We're gonna beat capitalism.
My mom is here. We are, yeah.
Aaron's mom is here.
My mom's hitting on Ali right now.
Oh shit! I haven't gotten my magazine yet.
I left mine on the table. I feel like it's
Hi, this is Lucy. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Ali from Cinemoville NYC.
Hi, I'm Joe Wakeman from Millennium Film Workshop. I've been thinking about something Ali said during the discussion where we were talking about, we sort of briefly started onto this thread about talking about where things, become institutions or become go from grassroots movements into institutionalization, and where things go wrong into the, that kind of thing. And I was, turning that over in my head a little bit after our conversation ended, and I was thinking about how it's not necessarily like the institutionality that's the problem, it's the practices of institutions that's the problem. So I think we're in this really interesting space where we have an opportunity to create a new version of that.
I think first and foremost, you gotta always stay focused on what the mission actually is, and never lose sight of that. When we talk about serving community, we tend to have these lofty goals where we lose sight when this fictitious money come or bag come or whatever you want to call it. We tend to lose sight of what that mission is. And a lot of times, I heard you use the word talking about power. We mistake power for freedom. Yeah. So a lot of times we get so caught up in that we look for that power and grab onto it, but we end up losing the freedom to be able to create and offer those spaces to other people and opportunities.
About space, people getting together, people who are like fun and cool and like hot getting together is also nice. But film is such a social form of art. It's unlike painting or writing, which can often be solitary, right? And you have to be with other people. You have to collaborate. And it sucks that oftentimes it is really hierarchical or isolating. And people are really professionalized, and there's a lot of really set expectations and responsibilities that people don't interrogate. And I think that what's really nice about having a space this party or Millennium or the folks who go to cinema screenings is that it feels like people are really trying to experiment with making film fun and interesting and working in a way that doesn't suck. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you get into the nitty gritty of production, that's what you're essentially doing as a director, and as I'm sure as you guys know, is you're making a space, you're creating this kind of energy on set in which, and oftentimes that can turn into some people are allowed in and some people are not allowed in, or some people are respected and seen and some people are not respected and seen. That like comes to like hierarchy of like, you know, the director, everyone else, producer, above the line people, below the line people, etc. But it also comes into play of like, am I being treated properly? Do I have like the support I need?
Creator Mag, stage, incredible filmmaker and organizer and saint, photographer, and so many beautiful things. What are you guys thinking about tonight?
Super pleased with everyone coming through, and yeah, just that it came to life. Shout out to Leo ESTEVES, who designed the whole magazine, and everyone who said yes to being in it. It's really a special group of collectives and organizers doing this underground film work that yeah, so it was really cool to get everyone in the same room, and that was kind of the point of tonight, was just to, everyone's busy with their own stuff, so to get everyone in the same room.
On a rainy day.
On a rainy day, yeah.
Shout out Millennium Film Workshop for like giving us the space to continue doing all of this shit, because like without the space it'd be very difficult to do anything in New York because because of gatekeeping.
I don't know, like, I think that it's really interesting the way that there's this kind of notion that there's like a linear like trajectory for people who want to engage in art, especially in a place like New York City, where like you have to like build resources, and through doing that you have to make yourself seem legitimate in the eyes of the state, and I think that's stupid. And you know, like, I feel like the beautiful alternative to that, which is what we're seeing, there's clearly a lot of enthusiasm for tonight, for which I'm very grateful, is that there are a lot of people who clearly just want to be with each other and, like, be... I think, like, movies are cool because it, like, allows us to show one another, like, what's in our imaginations, and if we're able to imagine something better than this, like, then we'll be in a better place.
I'm gonna say this. Every single art form can be both capitalist and socialist, and that's something that you need to know. It's not one or the other. It's what you make it. And so if if your intention is to move people through these images, right, through sound and images, then you can do it. And the reason why I believe in it is because I've seen it. It's because I've experienced it. It's because maybe I went to see, a film that's a 3-part film by Patricio Guzman that's showing what Salvador Allende did from 1970 to 1973 and how he was taken out of La Casa de la Moneda, the government palace, by the CIA. It's important, And that kind of stuff, growing up in a country where they would teach you history up to 1970, because they did not teach me growing up in high school. They did not add that what Allende did in history books. So it's important that this documentation, that's going back to documentation, you can really use it as a tool. And I encourage every single one of you here to use it as a tool, because that's what people don't know, that they have the power to do that. And that power needs to go back to the people, because we are kind of getting convinced that all these films, for Mattel, for all these brands, are the films we have to root for because they're talking about queerness or feminism. No. You are queer, you are trans, you talk about your experience, and that's taking the power back. That's right.
Good night, everyone. I love you all. This was beautiful. Now,
good night.
It's important to document your history, because without documents, things can be forgotten, things can be misremembered, but here is a document with written words and people saying on the record, this is what I said. In 100 years, and that's being morbid, at least there's actual document and not just oral testimony, which is also important, and there's actually a lot of value to that. So thank you for that.